What's up, guys? Welcome back. This is Maverick with another episode of March Comes In Like a Lion. Not much to recap today. Last episode, what we basically saw was Ray getting himself into a better place, surrounding himself with his peers of similar interest and whatnot. Of course, they'll help him with his career as well. But beyond that, I think it's just good mentally for him to be around these people and get out of his shell in a sense, right? So don't know what's gonna happen this one, but since he is kind of out of his funk right now, I wonder if he's going to finally go back and have a little bit more interaction with the Kawamoto sisters, right? I am looking forward to that. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Alrighty, as usual, skip the opening, so let's begin in 3, 2, 1, play. Silver Fred. Is that talking about... Ah, yeah, it is. Talking about that really famous title holder, right? Yeah, you would be intimidated. No, what? Oh, so his... Okay. His little brother status is a disciple. Hmm. So because it's a title tournament, it's being held in a hotel? He's more in the world, let's say. He's like, I'm looking at him in a different light. What? Yeah, you gotta have a goal here. It's also quite interesting, actually. Oh, hold that thought. Anyways, back to the main topic. Uh, seeing him now, seeing Koda now, after everything that's happened, it really gives a very different feeling from when we first met him. At least for me, in the first episode, right? Yeah, you probably shouldn't, not right now. I vote no. That's really not the best way to help. It's just gonna push her to running away even more. Anyways, what else? I guess I can mention it in the review part. But I really find it interesting how, even though Koda never uh, appeared that much in the episodes, because we learn more about Ray, because we learn more about his backstory and whatnot, it's a completely different feeling from first episode. Is this? Hey, yeah, it is. It's Ray Senior. Seriously, can't you guys just? I don't know if it's just me, but I picture if once Ray matures, he's gonna look exactly like that. So yeah. Till day one night. I would guess Shimada is going to lose. Hmm. And it's not today, right? Today is the eve. He really doesn't talk much. So is that his natural hair color? Did he dye it? Are we actually gonna hear him speak? Hmm. Okay, best of four. You again.
用事って何？
父さん余計なこと言ったでしょ。
メールで答えた通りだよ。僕は何も言ってない。
カード止められた上にいろいろとにかく質問攻めにされたわ。どうしたらいいのよ。あんたのせいだからね。
だから何も言ってないって。っていうかそれ、姉さんの自業自得ってやつだろ？
自業自得？何それ。何その上から目線。あんた何様？ぐちぐち悩んでグダグダの将棋指してるくせに。
関係ないだろこの話とは。
Ah, hey!
誰よ。
あかりさん、
They definitely
失礼します。
look how frozen she is.
ささ行きましょう。いじめられてしまうの。
Momo's got the right idea.
残念だけどちょっと取り込み中だったみたいね。魔女なの。仕方ないわね。お稲荷さんは私たちで食べちゃいましょう。でもそれにしてもレイ君もまた手強そうな子。誰よあの人たち。
近所の世話になってる人たちだよ。
ふーん、今度はあの家なんだ。またかわいそうぶって取り込んだんでしょ。まためちゃくちゃにするの？人の家に上がり込んで。いやらしい。なんだろう。じれったくて胸がバクバクして。石みたいに白いレイちゃんの表情に私たちの知らない横顔に、そして一度もこちらを向かないことに。レイちゃんこれ食べて。お姉ちゃんと作ったの。卵とごまがいっぱい入ってて甘くてとっても美味しいから。食べると元気出るから絶対食べて。
Come on, Ray, say something!
ありがとう。
Thank you.
行こうお姉ちゃん。何あれムカつく。絶対良くない。あの女の人。こういうみんないいね。ダメよムカつくとか言っちゃ。レイちゃんもレイちゃんだよ。何言われ放題で黙ってんのよ。
Oh, he said thank you.
お姉ちゃんもそう思う。ちびっとね。でしょ。いいわよ。
A woman's instincts.
何これあんま。お揚げ甘すぎ。お菓子じゃないんだから。でもこっちのはわさび漬けの刻んだのが入ってるんだ。
Are you gonna...
味が違ったらつまんないじゃない。キャッ。そしたらどうしてくれんの。
そんなこと言われても勝手についてきて勝手に食べる。
Yeah.
そうですか。
で、2の週には野菜系、筑前煮、ババ草、アピールきっつ。私家庭的でしょみたいな。男の子の一人暮らし、こういうのに飢えてんでしょ的な。
You talk much, Coco. Can you actually cook?
茹でてごま油ですよ。ナムル風か。シャカシャカシャカ。もぐもぐ。
姉さん、そろそろ帰らないと。母さんが晩ご飯。
動けない。スカートきつ。苦しい。
Yeah.
お腹いっぱいになったらなんか眠くなってきちゃった。ねえ、服貸して。ジャージとかないの？もう寝る。
怒られたばっかでしょ、父さんに。帰んなよ。
うっさいな、もう。後で電話すりゃいいんでしょ？
ああ、勝手に開けないでよ、そこ。
朝。
ああ、もう。
やっと落ち着いた。
Aw, poor Ray.
ねえ、どの子よ？
はい。
あの厨房？それともまさかあの人妻じゃないわよね？
はい。何の話さ。人妻って。ああ、もしかしてあかりさんのこと？
あかりって言うんだ。へえ、どうでもいいけど。
抱っこしてたのは妹だよ。
え？
あの3人は姉妹だよ。ついでに言えばあかりさん、姉さんとそんなに年違わないと思うけど。
どっちよ？厨房とあのおば姉と。
どっちって、なんでそうなるわけ？どっちも違うよ。っていうか今おばって言った。
じゃあまさか返事？この辺だ。
なんでよ、もう。
It's quite.
だから例のところだってば。本当に例のところなら文句ないんでしょ？そんなこと言ってももう電車ないんだってば。レイ。何よ、娘をなんで信用できないの？
Wow.
僕もです。気が合いますね、お父さん。
Hmm.
姉さん、どうするのさ、これから。父さん心配してたよ。
知らないわ。父さんっていつもずれてるのよ。お世話になってるなら挨拶するから連れてきなさい、彼氏を。だって。20も年上で最大者。
Oh, she can't bring it. Oh.
それにかつて自分の弟でしたって男よ。
Rumor this. Oh.
知ってるわけないじゃ
I
ない。
guess that's why they know each other.
やつ選んだんだよ。
That's how they got to know each other.
知らないわよ。私が聞きたいくらいよ。あのチビ、人のこと魔女とか言いやがって。
Oh, she heard.
本当に魔女ならこんな情けない苦労してないわよ。
Their interaction on screen has really also opened up, hasn't it?
その世の間中、携帯の小さな液晶の明かりが幾度も幾度も彼女の輪郭を淡く染めるのをただ見ていた。部屋中が青く染まって深い水の底に二人でただただ沈んでいくような夜だった。
Okay.
じゃあまたねという言葉。
Back to the strong Kyoko.
うんと言いかけて口をつぐんだ。あの日、引き裂かれるような思いであの家を出たのに、姉も僕もこうして何も変わらないまま、変えられないまま、兄弟にも他人にもなりきれないまま。すみません、遅くなりました。
ああ、いいよいいよ。何、走ってきたの？
すみません、掃除当番が長引いて。
掃除当番。ほほう、久々に聞くよ。懐かしいな、その単語。そっか、お前本当にまだ学生なんだな。早く入ってくれ。さっきから二階堂がお前のこと間違えてるな。
It's good manners to call ahead.
勝ったぞ最終局。
Uh, I love this. I love the voice actor that's voicing him, by the way. But I don't think his voice really fits the this character.
まあなんつうか首の皮一枚っつうか髪の毛一本のギリギリの線だったけどね。髪の毛一本。兄者が言うと重みが。本当におめでとうございます。どうしたの？みんな目頭を押さえて。ついに追いついたぞ桐山。直接対決が叶うこと楽しみにしてるぜ。なあライバル。
ああ、そうだな。そういった二階堂の表情が眩しすぎて目をすがめた。
Ray's like, I gotta get my act together.
来月僕は18になり、1年遅れで高2になる。何も変えられなかったまま、また新しい春がやってくるのだ。
Alright. See you guys after this. Okay, that was a very fun episode, I gotta say. Quite enjoyable to watch, just as a episode as it is, right? And I feel like I made this point within the episode already, both in terms of Ray's dad and, you know, the change in perception and whatnot, but I think it really applies to the entire episode as well, particularly with both Koda, the dad, the father, as well as Kyoko, right? So again, there's such a big difference here now that some time has passed and we know more about Ray and we see all these flashbacks about how they actually interacted before, and it just makes them these repeat encounters with them so much more different, right? Kyoko, I mean, we've seen her a lot of times appearing here already, right? She's got lots of different interactions. We've already seen a little bit of her soft side a few episodes ago, but in Koda's case, sure, we saw him we heard him on the telephone as well, right? I seem to recall the one time where we really see that he's still very very attentive to his son, if you will, attentive to Ray and to his needs and so on and so forth, was when he got sick, right? So we already know that part, but still, this marks maybe the second time that we really see them in the anime talk face to face with each other, and it's such a big difference from the very first time when we saw them, where it didn't seem like they were exactly on the best of terms and there was this awkwardness between them, right? And there is still a little bit of awkwardness here, I guess you could say, but it definitely makes him seem a lot more human than he initially did in the first episode. And that goes for Kyoko as well. She seemed much more like a human, not just like the devil, or as Momo would say, the witch, right? And this is, I'm thinking, for one thing, it's definitely a result of, you know, getting to know more about Ray's past, getting to see all these flashbacks and whatnot, but I also wonder if this could also be a reflection of Ray's mental state as well, right? Because when we were first introduced to Ray and Koda and Kyoko, he wasn't exactly in the best of mental health, right? I'm sure he's got a little bit, if he started like about here, then he went up a bit, and then he dropped back down again. But right now, I feel like he should be a little bit up here, right? So at least in a better state than he was at the very beginning of this series. So it's kind of fun to see this change in perception throughout. Not only, you know, a few episodes ago, I was talking about the interesting thing about this is how they introduce these characters one by one, but they don't tell you the full story, so they make you have a first impression on them, but then gradually change the impression, and that goes for their interactions as well. So looking at this scene, it's in a much different light. You're not feeling that you're being constricted or whatnot, you can't really breathe, you know, that kind of thing, right? And speaking of Ray's interaction with Kyoko here, right? I was actually quite looking forward to this meeting. It's just I guess you can't really say looking forward to, but when they met each other again, I thought this was actually going to be a huge development moment because Ray actually stood up for himself, right? In the past few episodes, he was more of just taking the abuse, not really saying anything, so on and so forth. Here, he's actually worked up his own I guess he's his own frustrations and whatnot, and was able to actually retaliate in a way. If not for the Kawamoto sisters intervening and then breaking that apart, right? Which I guess at the end of the day is probably a good thing with how everything turned out. But I was looking forward to them actually going back and forth, at least making some breakthrough, right? And this is a theory that I have, and that is if you really are on bad relations with someone, having an actual fight or battle would be better than a cold war, if you will. Particularly if you do want to get back on their good side. I would much prefer they both shout it out and fight it out instead of just not talk to each other or not really give a crap about each other, right? And so, but at the same time, when when the sisters oh, damn it, what's she called again? Hinata. When Hinata was giving the bento box to Rei, actually, I thought that Kyoko would actually do something to degrade her or the bento. I thought that she would maybe do something like look down on it or say, that's such a basically criticize it, if you will, and that might have gotten the sisters worked up, feeling a bit sad, and that would have gotten Ray worked up as well. But it actually didn't turn that way. It turned out to be a lot more wholesome than I initially thought it would turn out. Of course, she still kind of criticized the food, but as we can see there, I think it passed the Coco test. So yeah, it was quite fun to see them actually acting like siblings, right? And then being teased a little bit about, hey, which one of those is the one that you have on your mind and whatnot, so on and so forth, and actually yelling back and forth at each other. It felt much more like siblings, so I really enjoyed that growth in their relationship as well. And so yeah, that's basically it for this episode. I feel like there's not that much to talk about. It's just a fun, entertaining episode in of itself. Ray got to grow up a little bit, not only with his interactions with Kyoko, but also by observing Nikaido. And we saw a little bit more of Soya, right? This mysterious dude who I still think looks eerily similar to Ray and is probably what Ray is going to be once he grows up and matures. The only regret from this episode, I guess, would be that we haven't heard Soya talk yet. But I'm sure that is something to come. I do kind of feel, with the way the pacing that this is going, I do wonder how exactly they're going to have another I know that there's another season, right? And I think it's also about the same, like 24 episodes. So I don't know. It seems that there's a lot that can change between right now and the end of this season, and maybe even enough to wrap up the how should I say it? The different hardships or the different hurdles in Ray's life, I guess you could say. Or I mean, of course they stretch it out in the end because there is a second season, right? There is more to this. But if this was just a if this is just a 2-core anime, a 24 season or whatnot, I could totally see a situation where they wrap up the story directly within 24 seasons. So it will be interesting to see how exactly this continues to progress forward. So, anyways, and you guys are absolutely right too. How the series gets better and better as we get further and further into it, and I feel like that is also reflective of Ray's mental state as well. Because if anything, the anime is doing a really good job of reflecting Ray's mental state onto us viewers as well. So we get to that same sort of constricting feeling, that sort of negative dark place alongside Ray. The atmosphere that the anime builds up is similar to that. So as his mental state gets better and better, the episodes themselves also get brighter and brighter, figuratively, and so we as viewers would also enjoy it more and more, right? But anyways, that's it for this episode. I will see you guys next week. Bye bye.